John 11, verses 17 through 45. I thought of a story, a funny story that I heard quite a few years ago. It was about a man who was trying to get home, and it had been raining, and he was in a hurry, and he cut through this cemetery. What he didn't realize was that there had been a freshly dug grave there, and he got a little bit too close, and he slipped and he fell in that grave. Well, like I said, it had been raining and it was very slick, and even though the grave was only about 6 feet deep, he couldn't get out. He jumped and he clawed and he struggled and he just couldn't get out. And finally he decided, well, I'm here for the night. So he just went over in a corner of the grave and just sat there. Figured he would just wait the night out. Well, as the story goes, the cemetery was a favorite place for a certain man of the community to go in the night and where he could drink alone. And so he had been there, and he had quite a bit. He too came stumbling by and fell in the grave. Well, he jumped up immediately, and he started clawing at the top of the ground, trying to get in, just pulling mud in on himself. He tried and tried and tried, and he couldn't get out. And finally, when he stopped to take his breath for a minute, the first man in the grave reached up and put his hand on his shoulder and said, "You can't get out of here." But he did. He did. You know, and I thought of that when I read our text this morning, because I read about another man who came out of the grave. You know, it wasn't because someone touched his shoulder in the darkness of the night, but it was because Jesus Christ touched his heart and his soul and changed his life, and not only his, but those who were with him and witnessed it as well. And so I want to invite you to turn to John 11 this morning, as we continue with our I Am portraits of Jesus. And we are up to our fifth I Am saying, or I Am portrait. And we find here that Jesus can touch us too. Jesus can change our lives too, as he reveals himself as the I Am, the resurrection, and the life. So I'm going to pick up on verse 17 of John 11. Hear the word of the Lord. When Jesus arrived, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, some 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them about their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him. And while Mary stayed at home, Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask of him." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said to him, "I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will live. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world." When she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary and told her privately, "The teacher is here and is calling for you." And when she heard it, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet come to the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. The Jews who were with her in the house consoling her saw Mary get up quickly and go out. They followed her because they thought that she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus began to weep. So the Jews said, "See how he loved him?" But some of them said, "Could not he who opened the eyes of the blind man have kept this man from dying?" Then Jesus, again greatly disturbed, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone was lying against it. Jesus said, "Take away the stone." Martha, the sister of the dead man, said to him, "Lord, there is already a stench because it has been 4 days." Jesus said to her, "Did I not tell you that if you believed, you would see the glory of God?" So they took away the stone. And Jesus looked up and said, "Father, I thank you for having heard me. I knew that you always hear me, but I have said this for the sake of the crowd standing here, so that they may believe that you sent me." When he said this, he cried with a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, his hands and feet bound with strips of cloth, and his face wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said to them, "Unbind him and let him go." Many of the Jews, therefore, who had come with Mary and had seen what Jesus did, believed in him. The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. So we have the story of Mary and Martha and Lazarus' death before us. Lazarus and his sisters lived in Bethany, not far from Jerusalem. Jesus felt very close to Lazarus and Mary and Martha. In fact, he stayed with them often when he would come to Jerusalem. Understanding this close relationship, we can imagine how Jesus felt when the messenger came to him from Bethany to let him know that Lazarus was desperately ill. And you know, as I read this, the first thing that jumped out at me from this rich text is that we have a family here, a story about a family here who welcomes Jesus in their home. And at this point in his ministry, he was a wanted man. If we look at John 10:31, we find that the religious leaders took up stones to try to stone him to death. If we look in verse 39, we find that they tried to arrest him, but he escaped. And so it was pretty risky for you to be associated with Jesus, for you to be found with Jesus, much less to even have Jesus in your home. And I thought about that, and I thought about all the people in today's world who claim the Christian faith, yet their homes are not welcome to Jesus. Think about that for a moment. Do we live in a home like the Bethany home in our text this morning? Do we have a place in our home for Jesus? One that expresses the love of Jesus. Would Jesus be comfortable coming and staying in our home? Or would we have to change a few things to get ready? Hope that he gave us warning. Would we have to straighten up and tidy a few things, put a few things out of sight, so to speak? The second thing that kind of jumped out at me from this text was the fact that when Lazarus became desperately ill, they immediately knew that the best thing to do was to call out for Jesus. Just knowing that simple pearl of the faith, sociologists say that it provides lower blood pressure, less anxiety in a person's life, and way better health for people who attend church weekly than those who don't attend church at all. And then we find in this text the ifs, the great ifs in life. Look at John 11, verse 21, if you will, for Martha, and then verse 32 for Mary. Both of them say, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." If you had been here. Only if you had been here. How many times have we questioned God's actions or God's lack of action in our lives? Lord, if you would hurry up and do something, then I could get out of this mess that I'm in. Lord, if you would hurry up and find me a job, well, I can start paying some bills here. Lord, if you knew what I was going through in my life, then you would help me out. So it makes me wonder, what is my what if that I would want to present to Jesus? What is your what if in your life? This tells us that Mary and Martha are no different than us. But even though Martha is struggling here with her faith, she's not faithless. No, in verse 22, she says, but even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask. And I just love that about Martha. Martha is honest with Jesus. You know, what she is really saying is, if you'd have come when I called for you, then we could have avoided all this. You know, she's pretty honest with him. You could, even now, you can fix this. You can fix this. In other words, despite what I'm going through, I haven't given up hope. I haven't given up hope. I know the odds are against me, but I haven't given up hope. I know you can fix this. You know, I know what the x-rays show, but I haven't given up hope. I know you can fix this here. Even now, Lord, even now, you can fix this. Could you use it even now in your lives? I know that I can. You know, if we don't leave here with anything else today from this rich text, know that as Martha struggled with life issues, as she struggled with her doubts, and she struggled with her fears, she struggled with her uncertainty and her frustrations, she didn't lose her faith, and she didn't give up hope. But it gets better. It gets better. Look at verse 23. Jesus responds, your brother will rise again. And Martha said, I know he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. You know, we get a little bit of a glimpse of Martha's theological depth, if you will. She's not questioning who Jesus is. In verse 27, she knows that Jesus is the Messiah. She knows that he's the Son of God. She knows that he is the one who is coming into the world. Martha may be referring to Jesus' words earlier in John 5:28, where Jesus says, do not be astonished at this, for the hour is coming when all who are in their graves will hear his voice and will come out. Those who have done good to the resurrection of life, and those who have done evil to the resurrection of condemnation. You know, what I really think Martha is saying here is, I know all that. What do you have for me right now? I know everything's going to be all right in the resurrection. I know about that. You know, and in John's Revelation, you know, there's going to be a time where there's no more tears and no more pain and there's no more suffering in the New Jerusalem. You know, we won't have a worry in the world. And Martha's, what she's really saying is, I long for that day. I know all that. She said, I'm hurting right now. I'm struggling right now. I have bills to pay right now. Lord, what do you have to sustain me right now to get through what I'm going through right now? I know my brother will rise on the last day in the resurrection, but I need something now. Jesus said, I am the resurrection and the life. I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will live. And everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Jesus is saying that the resurrection and life has come into the now. That we don't have to wait for the last day, the day of judgment, when the dead in Christ will rise to newness of life. We can have that newness of life right now in the here and now. The resurrection has come into the now in Jesus Christ. Jesus said, those who believe in me, even though they die, those who believe in me, even though they struggle, even though they hurt, even though they're in distress, even though they have bills to pay, even though they're suffering from depression, even though I am the resurrection and the life, they will live. They will live now. Everyone who believes in me, they will never die. Now take a look at verse 26 and what Jesus says. He says, do you believe this? Do you believe this? Do you believe this, church? Do you believe this? Jesus says, we have to believe that Jesus is who he says he is. We have to believe that Jesus is the great I am. That Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, the one who is coming into the world, the one who is in the world in the present moment. The one who is right here, right now, ready, willing, and able to resurrect us from our struggles, from our pain, from our addictions, from our whatever it is we're going through, our depression. I mean, he's right here ready to do it, ready, willing, and able to do it for those who believe. You know, you may feel like you've slipped into a slippery grave someplace, and you've struggled, and you've jumped, and you've clawed, and you've done everything that you've done, and trying to get out, and you feel exhausted. You don't have anything else to give. You're exhausted unto death. But then you remember that there is one who lives in the home of your heart. And there's one whom that you know that you can call on in a moment's notice. You know that one will come to your aid and will resurrect you from whatever it is you're going through. Yes, He will. Yes, He will. Do you believe this? Do you believe this? Because if you don't, you are not where you need to be in your relationship with Jesus Christ. Remember how this section began. Jesus had a deep, bonding relationship with Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. John 11:6 says that Jesus loved them. In verse 11, Jesus referred to them as His friends. At times, Jesus stayed in their home. In verse 8, Jesus goes to them in the midst of their distress, despite death threats. In the depth of our relationship with Christ, or the depth of our relationship with Christ determines how we will handle our situations, our physical struggles in life. And if you notice in verse 6, John 10:6, Jesus waited 2 days before He came to Mary and Martha's aid. And when He got there, they were weeping, and the Jews were weeping with them. And Jesus empathized with them. Jesus got down in the watery grave with them, in the muck and the mire with them, and He wept with them. He wept with them. And then to show that He is the resurrection and life in the here and now, He called Lazarus from the grave. But notice when Lazarus came out, he still had his grave clothes on. He was still bound by his burial clothes. And Jesus said, "Unbind him and let him go." Folks, I'm here today to tell you it's time to take off your grave clothes. It's time to take off your grave clothes because you have been redeemed by the one who is here right now. You have been resurrected. You have been renewed. What Jesus did for Lazarus, He can do for us, physically and spiritually. Jesus is in every dark, slippery grave we find ourselves in. And He calls us from that grave. He calls us to take off our grave clothes and live as though we believe that He is here and now and living in our midst. Do you believe this?
Yes.
Then live it. Live it. Let us pray. Father, we thank You for Your word this morning. We thank You for Mary and Martha and Lazarus and their faithfulness to You, Lord. We thank You for the miracle of calling Lazarus from the tomb, and we pray, Lord, that we too need to be called from the tomb. We too need to be released from that binds us. We too need to take off our grave clothes and live the Christian life that You have given us to live in this day and time. And we thank You, Lord, for the blessed Trinity, that You live and You are alive today in us and in this place. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Our closing hymn this morning is the Hymn of the Cross.